Incoming transmission.
Hey everybody, this is Ed Pogue with Boosting the Signal, and I'm here this week with Jason from the Trekomendation Podcast, and I am so excited about this. If you're watching this and you're thinking, oh man, this is going to be great, here's a little thing you need to know. This is part two. You're going to need to go over and check out Trekommendations for part one because we're doing this whole thing today. If you want to see this whole interview, and you want to see everything we talk about, stop what you're doing. Go over and check out Trekommendations. Watch that episode. Then come back here so you're all caught up and you understand what we're talking about. Hey, Jason, how's it going?
It's going really well. The temptation to reference things from that previous conversation that didn't actually happen is quite strong. I think I just,
Do you remember when we said Star Trek sucks and Battlestar
yeah,
Galactica
yeah,
was 100% better?
yeah. I thought it was a bold recommendation, to be
It
honest, but
was. I was like, so say we all. But yeah, I'm going to jump right into one thing that we were talking about a little bit ago, just recently, over on your podcast, and I love it. You're ending your podcast now with the reviews, and you're
yes.
reading your reviews off of YouTube, which I think is inspired 100%. And we were listening to you read off one, and spoiler for anybody that hasn't gone over and checked out Recommendations yet, but you read one from Trek Stop Motion,
Yeah.
and it really kind of resonated with me that they didn't get past a certain point in the con audio drama, which was the recommendation from Sean Ferrick. Shout out to Sean
Yeah.
Ferrick. And how did you have you checked it out? Have you
Yeah,
listened
yeah.
to Con?
Yeah, yeah. I listened to it. So I am a like massive consumer of podcasts. And when I say podcasts, as much as I watch the YouTube ones when I can, and I put up YouTube stuff, I'm talking audio podcasts.
Okay.
It my life outside of talking about Star Trek, just the way it works with family responsibilities, with the work that I do, things like that. I can, actually when I'm working, I can listen to podcasts. So I consume hours and hours and hours of podcasts. So when you tell me there's a new Star Trek podcast, I'm like, great, an audio drama, I can listen to that. So I would listen to each week as it came out, the Khan audio drama. I would listen to Trek Culture's Ups and Downs, and that was good because sometimes it's nice when you you have someone agree with you a little bit, or like you think something, and you're like, am I mad? And then somebody points out the same thing, and you're like, okay, good, I'm not mad. Uh, and it was interesting, even being able to, I think for the last maybe four episodes or so, I would be like posting a little thing on my stories on Instagram where I'd be like, okay, but we're all thinking the same thing, right? Like we all know why she's so angry with Kirk and is
Yeah.
desperate to find out what's going on. Like we're, I'm not the only one thinking this, right? And then like each week it was more and more, yeah, yeah, definitely seems to be the way. Yeah, I no, I definitely listened to it all. I'm not as, I don't know, I'm not as precious about stuff maybe as other people are fan wise. I think there's that idea of if immediately you don't see how this is the same Khan as appears in Star Trek 2,
Yeah.
it's like, well, I don't, it doesn't feel right to me. And I think that is maybe the biggest issue people had was sort of, either it's a story that doesn't need telling or it doesn't feel like the Khan we knew or know. Um, but in the end, I feel like it kind of all came about. It all sort of paid off in the end. But yeah, give me a podcast. I'm going to listen to it. There's also some other. I'm constantly waiting for people to come on to recommend them to me, just so we can talk about them on the show. There are some absolutely incredible fan-made audio dramas,
Mm.
like really, really good. And I'd love to tell people about them, but I'm bound by this contract I've put myself in to
No, I
to
get
only
it.
acknowledge that stuff exists if other people tell me about it. So there we
You,
go.
what? Con? No, I love the audio drama as well. I like Naveen Andrews as Khan. I thought he was wonderful. I've always been a big fan of his since Lost. I've seen people that did not like him. I didn't understand
Mhm.
it. Um, but yeah, there are people that what's the terminology people are using now? The gatekeeping. They
Yeah,
will gatekeep something, which is not something I'd ever really heard of, but I guess I've been accused of a couple of times. But I try to be more of a not a gatekeeper, more of a hey, let's open up the door, let's
yeah,
check it out. You know, I'd like to think of it as canon.
yeah,
I enjoy it. I don't think people will think of it as canon. I would say until it's on screen, but then there's people that dog on Discovery and it was on screen and think, well, that's alternate universe. Yeah, nobody's ever happy, 100%. But no,
yeah,
I honestly, you've heard it, I've heard it. Trek Stop Motion, if you're listening, which I'm hoping you are, check it out, man. Give it another
yeah,
try. I don't want to spoil it for anybody else. I think the Khan audio drama is amazing. Everyone involved did a wonderful job. Um,
yeah.
now,
I think as well, my final note on that is there is when I think about it being like I don't know, well written or well acted. So that there's a character that I did not like, and I
okay.
did not like them pretty much through the whole thing. And there
Mm,
was a turning point where I was like, okay, maybe there's something here. Maybe they're, not as bad as I thought. And speaking with Sean on the episode, he said exactly the same thing. He's like, there's a character, don't like it, don't like it, don't like it. And then this something happens and suddenly, you change your opinion on them quite a lot.
yeah,
And I was like, okay, we need to maybe say this at the same time and see if we've got the same moment. And absolutely, like there was one moment where you're like, that's a reasonable human being. That's excellent. And I kind of think if you get those moments, even if you don't like everything in there, when you get those kind of moments, you're like, okay, you made me feel something about not only somebody that doesn't exist, but somebody that I can't even see. It's not
yeah.
like watching a character on a TV show or even a cartoon character. It's like I'm just hearing a voice
What?
and
Yeah, and
I
it's nice.
do
You
not
get to
like this
envision.
person, and now I do.
You get to
Yeah.
envision the character and the look and the feel, and I get that, and I like that. What did you think about the actress that was Marla McGivers or MacGyver's?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? Because I
The
missed half of
the
that.
actress that played Marla
Oh,
MacGyver's. What did you? I mean, I thought she did well. I don't know if
yeah.
you were a fan of For All Mankind.
Yeah, no, I actually think kind of across the board, I was pretty happy with. See, I'm again, and I think this is what I mean when I say less of like I'm not as much a purist with these
Yeah,
kind of things. Like I'm somebody, let's just upset everybody now. So I'm somebody that's sort of like I don't need an in-universe explanation as to why Klingons looked different in the 60s to the 80s and 90s because I understand that technology advances, prosthetics advance, we can do better makeup, we can change. So it just for me, I'm just happy to accept that we got better at doing stuff
right.
and that kind of thing. And I don't need that to be explained away in universe. Great, you've done it, but I didn't need it. Um, Similar with, like Strange New Worlds looking, the Enterprise looking better than it looks in TOS. It's like, yeah, it makes sense, guys. Let's just we can't make a show that looks like it was filmed in the 60s today because new people won't watch it. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I hate to tell
No,
you
you're
that.
right.
Um, and then with actors reprising roles or not reprising roles, taking over other people's roles, that's the necessity of us having a franchise that's lasted 60 years is that these actors can't do. It's incredible when they can. Having Sulu there, like fantastic, used sparingly, probably wise, but great. Having Tuvok, fantastic. We get these OG actors in, brilliant. And then having other people fill in, the other roles that some of them, in the grand scheme of things, like Khan, one episode, one movie, like a
Yeah.
big movie and a big impact, but that's still compared to, I don't know, someone like Riker that was in seasons and seasons and seasons of TNG. It's still so little screen time they get. So I don't know if we
Honestly,
can be so precious.
honestly, you want to get right down to it. If you want to say like, Oh, Ricardo Montalban is Khan. He is Khan. All right, all total, he has been in a total of what, 2 hours and 10 minutes? He played that character over the course of 60 years, whereas Naveen Andrews just did nine,
Oh,
almost 8.5 hours.
oh no, he superseded him.
Yeah. So, I mean,
I,
if you want to look at time, that's the way I look
yeah.
at it. But we could probably talk con forever. And but your review, the review that was left for you, sparked that whole thought for me. And I was like, oh, I want to talk about this, but your episode would have been an hour and a
Yeah.
half.
Yeah.
And we
But
want
also,
to.
see, I'm also like a completist with these things. So, like I'll be honest, I haven't enjoyed every season, like every series of Star Trek that has come out recently. I have watched every single one, and I've watched it to completion, and I will finish everything because uh, that is in my nature to be like, I've got to, and there's always the hope, isn't there, that the end will turn it around. And actually, yeah, in Khan it kind of did, but it doesn't always happen. But even if I'm not enjoying something, I'll I'll still want to finish it because I kind of, and also because even if I don't enjoy 90% of it, there's probably 10% that I'll be glad I heard or
Yeah.
saw or watched or something. I don't know.
Well, and I get that. And I mean, I'm in the same regard. Like I've seen every single minute of every Star Trek ever, and I'm gonna watch it. I mean, I have enjoyed everything. And we'll use Discovery as an example. I did not care for every moment of Discovery, but in my eyes, they stuck the landing. I think that the connection to Calypso brought
Mhm.
it all together for me. We may never get a true resolution to Calypso, but Calypso, for my money, was the best 15 minutes of Star Trek I'd ever seen. It touched on so many emotions, and then when Discovery, spoiler for anybody that's never seen it, retroactively connected to Calypso, I think that was a great way to do it. And
Mm.
so yeah, you know,
I mean, I still think um, that Pike in season two of Discovery is the best version of Pike we've seen.
but
And actually, that fuels a bit my disappointment at times with Strange New Worlds because I'm like, I absolutely adored the Pike that showed up in Discovery season two.
yeah,
And I don't feel we have quite the same Pike now. And obviously, and there's even in universe reasons as to why that is, but I'm like, can we get that? Can we get that back?
yeah.
And yeah, with Discovery, there were a lot of things I didn't like, but there were things I did like. Um, but I think sometimes as well, do you know when sometimes I quite like a premise, and then if you don't do it the way I think you should do it, I'm a bit like, hmm. So I think when we first heard about Discovery and this concept of following the first officer as opposed to kind of following the captain, I thought that could be really interesting. Like that could be and I actually thought about something like Chain of Command, where you have, which Riker did badly. And
Oh yeah,
if you want to go and see my hot take on Trek culture, I talk about it there. That I think that Jellicoe was right to make some of these calls, and even if you didn't think he was right, you have like that's your job is to support him. And I thought, what an interesting concept, right? Imagine if the captain is saying we're going to do it this way, you offer a suggestion, a different idea, and maybe they adjust a bit, but they still want to do it their way. Now, your job as first officer is to rally the crew behind what the captain wants you to do. And I thought that's a really interesting narrative, isn't it? If how do they balance, doing what they think is right with also knowing that it's the captain's decision and ultimately that's what they need to follow through on. And unfortunately, it was just like whenever Berman disagreed, she just did whatever she wanted, which was annoying for me because I was like, no,
or
I want to see you being a Starfleet officer and saying, well, right, this is what the captain has said. That's what I'm going to do. And unless your captain is from a mirror universe, and then at that point there's a revelation and you can make a change. But even with Georgiou, she was, insubordinate immediately. So,
on your
you know,
Trek culture, you were right. Jericho or Jellicoe was 100% right. The crew was in the wrong. The crew as a whole was like, I don't like what? 4 shifts? I mean, come on, 4 shifts is the way to go. I mean, first of
Yeah.
all, nobody's tired, and but yeah, there were seriously everybody. Here's a boost. Go check out that Trek Culture interview, okay, with Jason. Go check it out. You'll understand, and you can fill in all the gaps. It's a must listen to. Trust me. Um, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good one. Now, I do want to ask you a question that I
Oh.
think yeah, I know. Here we go. There we go. Okay, so you're always asking for a recommendations from everybody else, but how about you? What's a recommendation from you? What's something you believe in the grand 60 years of Star Trek that everyone needs to see?
Oh. I mean, partly that's why I've started this show, isn't it? It's to get the answer to those questions. There are, okay, I mentioned some of the audio dramas that
Right.
I've listened to. Um, but now I need to get my phone. So bear with me a
That's fine.
second so I can
No,
look
that's
up some
fine.
of these. Look up. So I've said I'm a big podcast listener too. All right, I'm gonna shout out quite a few of these now. But there's one that sort of started it all, and I'm gonna have to look that up. But okay, I would say Starship Tempest
Oh
is an
yeah.
excellent show. Um, I've chatted with them a lot from their very beginning when they started, and actually I have. Hold on, I'm just gonna pop off screen. You might appreciate this. I think the very first giveaway they ever did was for this, or
Oh
which is
wow.
the green screen is not liking this gold Enterprise with my certificate of authenticity and everything, which they had to ship me from America and cost them so much in shipping fees, and then getting stuck at customs and having to pay to get it out of customs. But yes, so Starship Tempest is an actual play of the Star Trek Adventures RPG system, tabletop system, but it's also an audio drama. Like they do a lot of sound design and storytelling within. So that's really good. Then Starship Excelsior is excellent. Endless Vigilance is really good. But now I need to look up what this is called. I think it's Outpost. That I'm sure it's called Outpost. Outpost, a Star Trek fan production.
Hmm.
It has like 80 episodes. It was so good. It was it's basically what I want, and all of these are Endless Vigilance, Outpost. Um, they're kind of what I wish Star Trek would do in and what they did. New ship, new crew, fall in love with these new characters.
Right.
They've all got interesting backstories. They've all got interesting dynamics with their family, with their friends, so on and so forth. They're not all, they're not Picard's nephew and somebody's cousin and somebody else's, sister-in-law. They're just new characters that sit beautifully within the Star Trek universe. And you listen to it and you're like, oh, this is just like, it's just like another Star Trek show.
Well,
Because it's made by fans and they love it and they're so, they care about the canon or the kind of the in-universe rules and laws and relationships between different species or different people or things like that. It's just pleasant to listen to.
I
Yeah.
like it.
So
Well, and
so
you
they
know,
would be my recommendations.
I like that, and I want to put all of them on screen and links below for everybody to find. And you bring up a good point. It's like all too often Star Trek kind of feels like Star Wars. It's like in Star Wars, everybody's a Jedi or a Sith, and everybody knows about the Skywalkers. And it's like, okay, all right, it's a bigger universe.
Yeah.
Star Trek can be that too. We don't need everything is the Enterprise. Everything. Oh, hey, remember Kirk? Everybody loves Kirk.
Yeah.
Occasionally it's nice to have you like, who's Kirk? What's Kirk?
Yeah.
We it shows a broader universe, and
Yeah.
I
Well,
like that.
that
Starship
was
Tempest. Oh, okay,
sorry, I
sorry.
was gonna say I think that was probably my biggest issue with Discovery
Okay,
was the fact that everything was related to them or particularly to Michael or like and it didn't matter where they went in the galaxy,
yeah,
they were the central hub, and it all tied back to them as a person. And to me, that made it feel small. And it's not just Star Trek. And this is the my go-to example is something like I like Columbo. I
Okay.
don't like Murder She Wrote, right?
Okay.
I I like that he's investigating a murder because he's a homicide detective. So he gets called out there because that's his job and that's where he should be, not that you are an angel of death and wherever you happen to be, people die. That's my issue. And I
Uh,
remember an episode of, an episode or a movie, one of the Columbo, and they said, like the woman said to him, "Oh, it must be so horrible for you having to come out here and deal with all of this." And he's like, "I'm a homicide detective. I don't get called out unless somebody's dead. Like this is why I'm here." And I like that the Enterprise goes to a planet or a system or a station or whatever's happening, and they encounter these people, and there's a problem on the planet, or there's something going on, and it's their job to be there, or they've been sent there on a mission or whatever.
yeah.
And it's not because this person knows Jean-Luc Picard or this person knows Data or this. Sometimes, and maybe more often than should be. But I just like the idea that they're at work.
Yeah.
They're just at work, and whereas you said Star Wars, you are the chosen one, and it's sort of everybody is intertwined in some way and related, and they're all Skywalkers or Palpatines or whatever, and but not
Not for
Kenobis.
nothing. I'm never going to look at Murder She Wrote the same way again. Um, I interestingly enough, I interviewed somebody that was on that show a couple times recently.
Yeah,
So it's like, so I've been very fresh with Jessica Fletcher stories in my head. And Columbo, the one thing about Columbo, I'll say that since you're a fan of Columbo, the one thing I always liked about Columbo is sometimes he didn't show up for like 30 or 40 minutes into the episode. Like he didn't have to show up because
yeah,
you had the murder, you had them trying to cover it up, you're watching all the crime, then all of a sudden he just shows up. And like, hey, how's it going?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
um, yeah, I love
And if and Leonard Nimoy shows up sometimes,
a couple of times. You
yeah,
know,
and he's
yeah, those
always the
are
murderer.
or Shatner. There's Shatner. I love the one where Shatner's wearing the hat and he's all flamboyant and he's looking like a pimp, but you know he's the murderer. Yeah, but yeah, those are good. That's always the best way. Like Family Guy. I don't know if you ever watched Family Guy. They had that. Like how can you tell who the murderer is when you're watching a show? It's like it's the whoever the biggest star is
Yeah,
on the credits in the opening. Oh, well, they did it. You know, we don't even have to guess now.
yeah.
Um,
But that's the fun, isn't it? Of like that's a show that understands how it the joy is in watching like how you get them to admit to being the murderer, or how you kind of can get the conviction,
yeah,
because we already know who did it. It's not the suspense isn't who could have possibly done it, because in those cases either they don't give you enough information, so that's why we don't know, or they deliberately mislead you, or and you'll have like characters who are on their own
yeah,
speaking in a way that misleads you, and you're thinking, well, why would they have said that if they were on their own? Like that's to the audience. Because talking of good premises, J.J. Abrahams is a person that I do not get on with his style of directing. Like I don't basically the mystery box thing is nonsense. That needs to go in the bin right away. Because it's a bad concept, it doesn't work, and he doesn't explain it properly. And nobody went out of the original Star Wars going, I wonder who Luke Skywalker's dad is. That's not how it worked. That was like a twist later. And I don't think not giving people enough information is good storytelling. I think it's lazy. But I do think that having a ship go back in time and alter something in the universe is the most elegant solution to
yeah,
then being able to film modern Star Trek without all those issues I mentioned before of why don't Klingons look like this? Why does the ship look this way and that? And actually, a concept that they should have embraced for Strange New Worlds
yeah,
is just have something small change, So we're in a slightly different timeline. So anytime someone is like, "Oh, well, actually, that ship should actually be this style of starship, or this should be," yeah, well, the timeline got shifted, it got shunted slightly, so it's slightly different, and we're all okay with it.
Yeah. Yeah, the
So,
I one thing I really did love the fact that Discovery touched on it. When they're like they talked about how the Romulan mining ship, it had an incursion and it changed the
yeah.
timeline. At least they acknowledge it exists, and I love that. It's not like, oh, here's this, it didn't happen. No, 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 no.
Hmm.
We know it happened. And then, like a year ago we had unification, and you had a character that had appeared on Discovery from that universe, appearing on Unification, and I assume you saw Unification.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, it was great. And JJ for the, I'm gonna probably get a lot of people angry here, but I don't really like the Kelvin films. I do, and I don't. And I'm gonna say this carefully because I know that here in the 60th anniversary, the Kelvin films are going to get they're going to get a spotlight. This is
Right.
something I know for a fact. So I don't want to take away from that. But I will say this, I will say I only liked Beyond more than any of them. Like the first one's
Hmm.
okay. It was fun.
Yeah.
I absolutely just abhor Into Darkness. Um, and then Beyond, I think, is the most fun of all of them. And I probably know more about that one than I do any of the others.
Yeah.
But when it comes to J.J. Abrams, and, like obviously he didn't do the third one. Maybe that's why I like the third one so much. Oh my God! But but when it comes to J.J. Abrams, the best thing he's ever done is Mission Impossible 3. I
Right.
mean that that's it. That he was good there, and I'm good with that. So
Okay. Yeah. I mean, as I said, I think those sort of things are fine. It's just when he plays with this kind of having to create a mystery for the audience, and we can all speculate on it, and it's like I don't even know if you've got the answer. I mean, I think of the Star Wars trilogy. I know I've heard some of your other episodes. I know you've chat Star Wars with some of your
yeah,
guests, but I think like the way that was originally planned, he wasn't meant to do the third movie, so he sort of created a mystery box that he didn't have an answer to.
yeah.
That's not a mystery. That's that's you've not finished what
It's
you're meant to be
lazy
doing.
storytelling.
Yeah, yeah, you're like, oh, and everyone's going to be wondering who. And the problem with that is everyone's going to be wondering. Yeah, you're your own worst enemy because now everybody's got years to speculate and come up with their own brilliant idea. And your idea will, unless you have, I don't know, something so incredible that we all hear it and go, oh, that is so much better than what I could have imagined or what. But it's not like we're all thinking, oh, this would be the absolute best thing.
Yeah.
And so we're let down and disappointed because it's not what we were hoping for, you know.
Yeah, it happens with everything. I mean, how many times has Star Trek gone the different direction? Like, let's look at the burn in Discovery. We're all like, what was the burn? What caused the burn? Oh, it was some baby, crying.
Yeah.
What? Like, so yeah, it's like I don't know. I'll use a sports metaphor. I'm a Chicago Bears fan. It's like being a Chicago Bears fan. You get excited because you think it's going to be great, but then in the end, you're just completely disappointed. And that's the way I look at that season of
Yeah.
Discovery. So
Yeah. And it's hard, isn't it? Because it's obviously like my channel's very new, so I don't have that many people watching it, which it'd be nice to have a few more. But it's quite nice that I look at the few comments I get. They're generally very positive. They're generally people sort of saying, "Oh, it was really nice to see so and so on there," or "That was an interesting recommendation, lovely." And then as I mentioned, was on the Trek Culture one, and they clip the Cargo Bay 101, and they
yeah,
put that up as a video on YouTube. And I read some of the comments, and it's just like, guys, I mean, so yeah, and somebody being like, "Oh, it's just another person just hating on Discovery and this and that." It's like, no, I talked about one piece of technology that I didn't like, I didn't mention anything about any seasons of Discovery. I've mentioned one piece of technology that shows up in the 32nd century that we might even see in Academy, a show that has not yet come out. And so clearly I can't have an opinion on that yet. But I'm just saying there's a piece of technology that I don't think exists, don't think should exist. I don't like it. And here's all my reasons in universe and, as somebody who watches the show, why I don't think this is a good thing to have. And people just, it's like you can't. So, you're saying, yeah, the burn could have been a really interesting thing. And it just felt like a real dud of a kind of explanation.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to be critical because then people come at you like Discovery is the best thing ever. How could you? Oh, you just hate all new Trek, and you're like, no, I like some of the elements here, but come on, like this is a bad idea. This doesn't make any sense.
Well, this is when
And
we
and
come
it
down to the gatekeeping that we were talking about,
Yeah,
and they want to gatekeep, and I get that. Support what you love, but don't hate on others because they
yeah,
don't like everything that you love. And
yeah, yeah.
um,
It's very hard with I find with a lot of the new Trek stuff in particular. Be, and it is because there are people that will hate on everything regardless. They don't care, and they are pretty. Their opinions are quite often, very extreme and not necessarily founded in any, logical reason because it's like Academy. I said it hasn't come out yet, so I can't have an opinion on it beyond the trailers. Yet we know that many people have strong opinions on it already. Whereas I'm like, well, I'm going to wait and see because it might surprise me. I live in hope. Stranger things have happened. Um, so it might surprise me. But it is hard because it does mean when you are critical, or not even critical, just I didn't really like that, or I don't like this character very much. They will ascribe to you the reason you don't like this character is the same reason other people don't like this character, or say claiming they don't like this character. And you might give the most articulate, reason as to why you don't enjoy this character. And actually, I was thinking about this because somebody, again, one of these comments, this is a good place for me to vent on these comments. Somebody, because I said about it was the personal transporter, right? Like that's my issue. It's just night crawlering, bamfing around. I don't like it. And I said that I'd heard Tom had said on a previous episode about Star Trek like needing to slow down so you can catch your breath and sort of and how this eliminates that completely, right? There is no walk to the transporter room. There's no little conversation before you go. It's just okay. And somebody gave a comment about how, oh, then maybe we need to adjust. This is modern, if we can't keep up with like modern storytelling and the way modern TV works kind of things. And I was thinking, I watch and enjoy a lot of modern, like new show. I'm somebody who enjoys a lot of shows that are coming out week to week. They're only, you don't get much more modern and up to date than the next episode isn't even out yet. And I enjoy those shows when they're well written.
yeah.
So I don't think I have an issue with modern. I understand that everybody watches movies and TV shows while on their phone now, and they're fighting for attention on the screen and having to give so much exposition because people are looking down and scrolling and all. I get all of that, but that doesn't excuse bad writing. Like that's just
No, you're you're
there we
you're
go. Anyway,
you're right on 1,000
thanks for
points.
having me on.
No, no, no. I love it. I love it because you vent. Go ahead, vent.
Well, it's
But
because
no, you.
my show is positive. I get people to come on and talk about something they really love.
Mhm.
And actually, that's why I built the show the way I did. It can't
Now
be
wait a minute.
negative because
Let's
everybody
not
comes on
making
and says
people
some.
don't make people think that this is a negative show.
No, no, no. I mean,
Okay.
It's just that I'm never like everything is all good, and that's sort of why I did it because not this show, but I would say if you are a episode review show, for example, as every episode, as each episode of Strange New World comes out, we're going to review every episode. If it's like an objectively bad episode, you kind of you'll be a bit negative, right? Just because of what you're presented. Whereas my show, I ask the guests to bring on something they love.
Yeah.
So it's going to be positive. But it means that I'm always very positive and happy, and I try to be. But it's sometimes nice to have an opportunity
No,
to go, but here are the things that are winding me up at the moment.
no, I
I
get it.
can't.
I try to be positive as well. I'm not going to name any names, but there's a podcast I watch on a regular basis where I have very literally gone into it and wondered, okay, so I like this episode. They're gonna hate it, aren't they? I'm gonna go into that and I'm gonna listen to them ridicule this thing that I hate, and am I gonna change my point of view based on what they say? No, no, no. I'm gonna try not to,
Gonna
but
stay strong.
yeah, but so like I said, not they're great guys. They're great guys. I'm not gonna mention any names because I don't want people to ever look at them in a negative way. But you talked about you want people to you're starting out your podcast. You want more eyes on it and everything else. I agree. I'm still new. I've only been doing this 4.5 months, 5 by the time this airs, and you know my I love your premise. You popped up like just a couple of weeks after I did.
Yeah,
And I was like, okay, I like this because you're bringing people on, you're bringing on the recommendations, you're spreading the word about Star Trek. Ultimately, that is what we want to do. My whole thing is I boosting the signal. It was like, okay, I want to have people on, I want to get to know them first. Second, Star Trek is a way to crack that door open. If you have just a small love of Star Trek, come on in. Let's talk. Let's tell the world what you want to know, what you want to tell people, or what you need to let people know. I've gone to my friends first, like okay, people I know, I'm gonna cash in those people. Like, come
yeah,
on, I need your help, man. So and I love that what you're doing too. It's positive. I'm trying to keep positive, but if you gotta bring that negativity too, that's fine. Release it, release it. Think of it like
yeah, yeah,
as like the Star Trek version of Dr. Phil, you know,
yeah,
you know, without any of those connotations. But
yeah.
it's have fun with it.
Well, my show, you're right. It hasn't been around that long. It's easy to remember when it came out, because it came out on a very special day for Star Trek fans, and that is, of course, the wedding anniversary of Crusher Conversations. Uh, as we learned on your show, that is Star Trek Day. So it came out on Star Trek Day, which means for the 60th anniversary, Star Trek Day on the 60th anniversary will be the 1 year anniversary of Trekommendations. So
In the
I've
same
stolen
vein,
that.
mine's easy to remember. My first episode was August 18th. That is my wedding anniversary.
Oh, that's good. That's clever. Yeah. So either well, you're either going to not forget your wedding anniversary, which is really good, and your wife will be happy, or even worse, you'll make a big fuss about the anniversary of boosting the signal and completely forget your
Uh,
wedding anniversary, in which case, you know,
yeah,
I hope that podcast room is comfortable because you will be sleeping there for the
yeah.
foreseeable future.
Yeah, I can see a little spot over on the floor right there. Oh, the pillow looked nice over there. But yeah,
Yeah.
um, yeah, but no, and I like marking the anniversaries. I'm all about moments. Like I'm already planning, like things for March and April of this year. It's like I'm a planner, so
Yeah.
that helps.
Wow, you're a better man than me. Because I got ahead. I was like, oh, I'm gonna book, get this is great. It's pre-recorded. I can get guests in and I'll book them all up. And I did that. And the problem is then when I got ahead, I'm like, oh, I've got loads of episodes.
Yeah,
So I can sit back and relax. And then suddenly I realize, oh, hold on. I've almost run out. So I need to
yeah,
so I'm back on a rebuild at the moment. So if anybody wants to come on, shoot me a message.
yeah. Send that
I'm
DM.
always looking for people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel the same way. I've thought about like, I get people all the time, say like, "Hey, have you asked this person to come on?" I was like, well, I don't even follow that person. I don't want to just pop up in their DMs and be like, "Hey, you want to
Mm.
come on my show?" It's like because
Yeah.
they're not going to react very well to that. So,
Yeah. Or
uh,
I don't know. I had so like Jay Cozy was I think on maybe the second or third episode. I can't remember off the top of my head now. Who I think he just commented on one of my posts,
oh
and
wow,
I was like that's enough. That's enough for me to invite you
yeah,
on. And he asked, I don't know if this was just between us, but anyway, he basically sent a message being like, well, why do you want me on? And I'm
yeah,
like, oh, you don't understand. I want everyone. Like the whole point is, and that's why I do the calibration questions
yeah,
because if I'm asking people like their favorite characters or they're this or they're that, and it's all kind of TNG focused, you're like, okay, you're a big TNG fan. I'm a Strange New Worlds Discovery person. I'm new into Star Trek. So if your answers are sort of in line with that, it just helps people know that, oh, this is a recommendation that I'm going to enjoy maybe because we're sort of in a similar vein of
Yeah,
Star Trek fandom. Um, and it does mean that even if it's, I might not like the recommendation. Like this might not be for me. I might be like, okay, it's good that you like it, but absolutely I couldn't think of a worse thing to spend my time doing in the Star Trek world. But that doesn't matter because it's not for me.
right.
It's the idea is that there will be a listener that's like, oh, that's exactly the thing I've been looking for. So
Yeah,
I just want everyone, from it's no and I kind of feel with to your point of I don't follow this person. I need to branch out to that. It can't just be people I follow because if I
right.
follow them, I probably like what they're doing. And it's not that I want to get people on that I don't like, but people that aren't popping up in my algorithm, but are potentially popping up in the algorithm of other Star Trek fans, right? Like
Yeah,
that's, it's a big universe. That's the
yeah.
problem.
Well, and I'm going to take everything you just said with all the grains, and I'm going to soak it up because I love what you said. That's a great way of looking at it, and I will change my viewpoint. Go outside the algorithm. That's a great way of looking at
Yeah.
it. I appreciate that. I Yeah, and yeah, like I like focusing on the people. Like as
Hmm.
an example, this is kind of inside baseball, but you're my episode this week. So like
Here I am.
100% of my focus is going to be when your episode is on, you know, 3 times that week you're going to get reels. I'm going to push it. I want people to watch your stuff. I'm going to obviously, since I'm going to be on your show, I'm going to promote that as well, and it's like I want to boost that signal. I want everybody to check it out. And I know you're guaranteed at least one view because my mom's going to watch.
Oh, thank you
Yeah,
very much. What's your mum's name?
Ray.
Right. Well, thank you so much. And if you want to keep that one review rolling each week, I'd appreciate that. I'm no Ed, but I'm pretty charming as well. So you might enjoy sticking around for that.
There
There we
you
go. Got
go.
to work for you got to work for every listener. Uh, I also think though, um, that two things I would take from that is one, the worst thing is, well, sometimes they don't even see, a message because it just goes into requests or whatever, or like it
Yeah,
doesn't go through. So sometimes they don't reply because they just never see it. The worst thing is that they can say no, you
yeah,
know, and that's it, right? But what I like with your concept is you are it's not can you come on my show to help me boost my signal, like can
right.
you come on my show to get me more viewers. You're like, hey, can you come on my show so we can talk about how wonderful you are and how good your thing is. Oh yeah, that's nice. Why not? And then they get to come and be promoted, so it's kind of like what I mean, I now it's nice because I've got episodes out. But when I had a premise of a show, I was like, I had a little outline, and I was sending that to people and being like, "Hey, this is the show's not out yet. This is the show. This is the concept. This is what I want, and this is why I think you'd be good. Could you come on?" And send that out. And sometimes that's enough, right? So, like, hey, you do a wonderful podcast. I've seen some excellent episodes of your podcast. I'd love to get you on for a chat just so we can let more people know about it. You could tell us a bit of the backstory.
Yeah.
It's nice, right? It makes them feel good. And so
You had
yeah.
mentioned you had trepidation when it came to asking me to come on. Why was that?
Oh, did I say that? Oh no.
Well, the exact word you said was you're scared to ask. It was in a comment said,
Oh yeah. What did you say? Why did I
and
say that?
I
Oh,
was like, there's no reason to be scared of me, Like,
no. I think it was something about oh, I think I was joking, but I think it was about like
oh,
I think it was because no, you know what it was? I think you were sharing something that you'd bought and it was
okay.
like really expensive. And
That
I was
doesn't sound
like,
like me. I wouldn't have bought something expensive.
I think it was probably something like that. Like, I'm scared to get you on
Oh,
because I'm afraid. So what's happened? This is the biggest flaw with my show that I had not anticipated. Now, thankfully, the episode we have recorded. if people go and listen to that, they will see that not only is your recommendation incredibly affordable, if you want to go all out on the, let's say, most expensive version, it's very affordable. It's also completely free if you
Yeah.
need. Like, and so I thank you for that. Because
Oh,
as we mentioned, I had a guest come on. They recommended the trilogy of Star Trek Destiny. We finished the episode. I ordered it. Um, the episode that will be out next week for you and I, and in the past for the listeners, it's the second time I have actually purchased while having the conversation with someone
ooh,
their recommendation.
I look
Um,
forward to that.
and so this is my fear is you come on, you're like, look at all of these amazing figures, or look at this, or look at that. And suddenly I find myself opening up the bank and just saying, here, have all my money. I need to buy these things. So I think that was probably what I meant was, you know, I think it was that. It will definitely have been in jest more than being,
Okay,
you know,
I was concerned,
you're a friendly guy. There's no way I'd be, and also, what's the worst you can do? You can't reach through this screen and grab me. I'm perfectly safe. Oh no, maybe he can. Yeah,
No, I've seen a lot of Doctor Who. You never know. I was
that's
like
true.
if these guys will come through the screen.
Oh, there we go. I mean, every time it's amazing the amount of stuff you have on the screen. The fact that you can reach off screen and grab something as well is just,
Yeah, there's a big wall of more stuff here, and then if you look directly in front of me, there's a massive wall of films.
oh,
It's
right.
nothing but films.
Yeah.
So,
See, I have so few things, and yet I can still grab stuff, which is, uh,
well, all you have
everything
to
is
do is
within
call it up
reach.
in the holodeck. You
Well,
just
that is true.
computer,
Yeah.
give me a book. There it is.
Yeah, exactly.
You
Yeah,
gotta you
none
gotta
of this
play to
stuff
your
is real.
background a little bit.
None of it is real. Well, that's why I have the clock that floats in the corner usually on my episode. I've put it in my square to be like, oh, it's probably part of the holiday. Yeah. I
Yeah,
should just have it actually engage and it just changes the background and suddenly I am in somewhere else. And then
yeah,
it's like a screen within a screen. That would be pretty clever.
that's a good idea.
Actually, I have got an episode potentially. Yeah, actually, I think we will have recorded it and it will have come out before this one. So I
Okay.
might mention it. Um, but there should be an animated episode coming out.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah,
That'll be
I'm
fun.
pretty excited about that. There's a TikTok account that does like animated Star Trek reels, and we've been talking about doing an episode together. And I think they were saying, "Do you mind if I use like the VTube thing and have my animated avatar?" Which I don't mind. Lil Voyager Comics was on, and we just used a comic version of her because I understand some people, have very serious jobs and things like
Yeah,
that, and they don't want to be on a podcast with their face exposed, which is, again, I'm adaptable, no problem.
right.
Uh, but we were talking about it, and then we sort of ran with this idea of, well, what if we were both animated? And so we're going to do an animated episode. So that will that might it might be the one before this comes out. It might be last week's episode for people listening to this, or it might be a few before that. But
That'd be good.
yeah,
I'm still gonna watch. I mean, I'm gonna look
I'm
forward to
pretty
that.
excited about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I like the fact that we've timed ours up to go up the same day. And when I suggested that to you, and then I didn't hear back from you for like a week, I told my wife, I was like, oh man, he's gonna take that idea and use it for somebody else. I was like, don't
no,
do
no, no,
that. Like, I was like, it's
no,
such
no,
a
no.
good one. I
Yeah, I've seen other podcasts do it. I think the most I saw was like a four-part. It was four different podcasts that
wow.
they'd recorded kind of one thing, and you had to listen in order
Well,
to
technically,
these.
I've done that like previous, like it's already happened, so we can talk about it. I had Lego Boldly on, and he and I like when the Lego ship Enterprise was announced. I'm like, hey, you want to do this? You want to get together tomorrow and let's talk about this? He's like, yeah, yeah. And then like I'm laying in bed that night, and I looked at my wife and I said, I'm gonna shoot two. And she's like, really? I said, I'm gonna do two. And I ran it by him. I was like, do you want to do two episodes? And he's like, yeah. So we shot a whole second episode that will have aired by the time this has been aired.
Right.
And because like, we'll do the bonus and then we'll do a full episode getting to know him. And I was
Have you
like, what
got the
is?
Lego? Because I'm pretty sure I
Oh
heard
no,
you
I can't.
say
I can't afford
that
that.
you wouldn't get it. Yeah, yeah. I
It
was just suddenly like, I've heard you on your show say that you're not getting the Lego Enterprise, and
no,
then
it's not.
oh,
It's way out of my price range and
yeah,
gone now, so it doesn't matter. It's a moot point. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure it'll come back one day. But when it comes to the minifigs, like if they put out the minifigs in little bags, the grab bags, maybe one day, sure. But like, I can't, I can't swing it. I like
yeah,
paying bills, so
yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm right there with you. I've just yeah, Lego. I mean, my kids love Lego. Obviously, they play with Lego, and we get them different Lego play sets and stuff, and that's fine. But and I understand, and I understand the quality and this and that, and the technology behind Lego, and I get it. I get all of it. My brother is a big Lego guy, but guess what? He doesn't have kids, so he
yeah,
can afford to be a big Lego guy. Um, I just I can't justify it. I don't have space for it, as I know you've said similar.
yeah,
Um, and also and this will upset people. If I'm spending that much money on an enterprise,
yeah,
it better look absolutely incredible and flawless. And I don't mean for a Lego kit. I just mean this should be the most screen accurate thing you have ever seen in your life. And when people walk in, they're like, wow, it's like I'm on the set and that is the Enterprise. And Lego will never be that
no,
because it's Lego. And I
yeah.
get what Lego is, I understand, and I'm not, and if that's your thing, wonderful. But for me, I'm just like, it's still Lego. Like, I get that it's the Enterprise, but if I want a model of the Enterprise, I just want it to look
Yeah.
perfect.
When it comes to Lego, like the only thing I have in my collection, I have a little miniature Millennium Falcon.
Right.
Um, that's actual Lego, and then I have two sets that aren't Lego. I have
Got
an
you.
office. It looks like the show The Office. It's the
Yep.
whole office, but it's not Lego. It's some knockoff brand. And then I have a Stargate, and
All right. Nice.
yeah, and that's it. I mean, I don't have a lot,
Yeah.
but yeah,
I'm also a kind of, I don't know, I've got upset so many, but no, but I'm also a like, I love, I like Lego as in Lego blocks, like a bucket of blocks, and go to town on that and try and build something that resembles the thing you want. Like use your imagination, use the blocks,
yeah,
create. Like I get that.
yeah,
And all these sets that are just step-by-step instructions and special pieces that look, that have been created specifically for a set,
yeah,
I kind of feel, you know, I already, oh man, do I reveal this here? Yeah, I already feel like we are losing the ability to use our imagination. Um, we both have to use social media for these shows.
right,
So I begrudgingly use social media. I do not like social media. The thing I don't like the most about social media is trends and the idea that somebody, does a little skit. And instead of that being a unique piece of content, it is now a trend. And then somebody will say, well, I'll do that skit, but I'll do it in a Star Trek theme. And I'll do that skit, but I'll do it in a Star Wars theme. And I'll do that skit and I'll do it in a, whatever it is. And it's like, you haven't created something new. You've adapted, which is, it's fine. It is what it is. But I've got two kids and I watch them and I think, I worry about your ability, to just create a new story out of nowhere. And we see it, even in Hollywood, right? Everything's a remake or, a reimagining of something or an adaptation of, and it's so hard. And I get that obviously it's hard to make new stuff because kind of it feels like everything's been done.
yeah,
But I don't know. And so I guess that's where my Lego thing of a bit being like, instead of you being given just these blocks and you can use your imagination and your creativity to create whatever you want. You're given an instruction manual and some blocks and you're like, make exactly that.
yeah.
I don't know.
I That's a excellent point, and I'd never thought of it that way. It's kind of blew my mind there. I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
do like what Lego Boldly is doing. I don't know if you've well, by the time you haven't had even aired that yet, but it will have aired by this time. Check out his episode.
Yeah,
I like what he does. He's building starships that honestly look way better than anything Lego has done, in my
yeah.
personal opinion. They're beautiful, and he explains his process so well. And I think you'll appreciate it. I hope that you
Yeah.
listen and watch it.
Yeah,
Um,
I quite liked so I had Captain Shoff from Treknopod
yeah.
on and he's a big Lego guy. And he was recommending and he's bought the Enterprise D, I've seen that pop up saying, but he was recommending Rebrickable and certain creators on Rebrickable that and so like he's got an Enterprise C. I think no, it's not no, I think it's like an Enterprise A. I think it's
Okay.
like or a refit of the original. It's something like that. Sorry, can't remember now, off the top of my head. But it is actually a Millennium Falcon kit that has been
Oh yeah,
repurposed,
I've seen
and
this.
I think like that's clever. Like there you go. That's what I'm talking about, right? You like a Millennium Falcon has these style of parts and these kind of things, and because of that, I can manipulate them in another way to create the ship that I actually want.
Yeah,
So I'm all on board for that. I think that's brilliant. I think that's genius, actually. And I don't know how you do that. Like because I know how you follow instructions when you have every single piece you need. That makes perfect sense to me. I do not know how you can look at all of the, like specific pieces of one model kit and be like, I already see how I'm going to turn that into the Enterprise. Like that's clever.
that's
That's
creativity.
that's that's commendable. So I'm all on board with that. Um, yeah. See, I don't hate everything. I love a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I get it. Going back to something you had mentioned too, I also know what it's like to reach out to people. I've had people that I've tried to get on the show and come on, and I'm sure that those messages have gone into the spam or whatever it's called
Yeah.
on Instagram or whatever. But I've had two people. I've had some no's. I've had some no's. One was a flat out no with no interest, which shocked me because they love their voice. And and two, I've a couple of people, and I appreciate their responses more, and I can understand they deal with the anxiety of it, and that's something that I completely understand and I get to, um, and but I've told them that they have an open invitation. If
Yeah.
they say that they want to do it, I will stop what I'm doing,
Right.
but but
Well, I
and
can't wait until we stop recording and you tell me who the flat out no was.
I will
That's
do
going to
that.
be
I will
fun.
do that. Yeah, and we should probably wrap this up. It's been a really good hour already, and plus the hour that we have with over on your
Yes.
show. And this way everybody's got at least a good movie of us today. Um,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
before we wrap it up, just let
Right.
everybody know where they can find you, and it'll pop up on the screen later. So
Oh, exciting. Well, if we haven't mentioned it enough, you can find my YouTube channel, Trekommendations. And so all the episodes go up on a Monday as a YouTube video. I also put everything up as an audio podcast. You can find it on any podcast app. I'm pretty sure it's everywhere, on Spotify and everything else. And again, everything goes up on Monday. So if you want just to listen to it, that's absolutely fine. If you want to leave a review or anything like that, I appreciate that. That's really wonderful as well. On the socials that I've mentioned, I do not like, but I do use, and I use them fairly well, guys, even if I don't like them. And generally, if you're following me, I'll probably be following you back, and I'll also try and leave, an actual comment that is meaningful when I see your content as well. I try my best, but life gets in the way sometimes. But yeah, it's recommendations on pretty much everything. So, f including Facebook. Somebody was like, "You got to get back on Facebook." There's a lot of Star Trek fans on Facebook. So I was like, "Fine, we'll put it on Facebook as well." So which is very easy. If you've got Instagram, it automatically posts everything to Facebook as well. So not a headache. So Facebook, Instagram, X, but I honestly don't use it, so you have to let me know if you sent me something on there. Blue Sky, also don't really use it. You need to tell me that you've done that as well, and I will try and start using that more. Apparently, it's good. What other places are there? Am I missing anything? TikTok. Um,
Threads,
oh, I'm not on
right?
Threads. I should
You
maybe
know,
I should get
Threads?
on Threads. Yeah, I'm on Threads for another podcast, but not for this one. But I should get it on Threads. You're right. TikTok is the one that's doing the best, which I don't understand because it's the one I understand the least. As a slightly older man now, I don't really get it, but I do. If you've listened to my show, you know I do calibration questions. I like to ask these kind of, they're not yes or no questions. They're not right or wrong. They're not pop quiz questions. They are more opinion based kind of fun questions like that. I quite like to leave some of them just randomly on TikTok, and just ask those questions. So that's something extra that you get if you go on there, is me just asking you which, I think the most recent one when after I was recording this was sort of like it's pretty cold and miserable where we are at the moment. And where would you go on vacation anywhere in the Star Trek universe? Where would you like to go? Please don't say Riser, any other place.
It's a big universe.
Yeah. Um, but that, yes, so pretty much everywhere and anywhere you can find me. Or,
Sweet.
or if you're in the UK, just track me down. I'm
I'll
here.
have my wife follow you on TikTok. She has the TikTok. I don't do the TikTok. I Spoiler, I'm kind of banned from TikTok. We haven't figured out why, but I'm not allowed to use it. Both of my
Oh,
email addresses have been blocked.
oh, really? I
Um,
thought it was maybe like your wife had banned you because you were
no,
like just
no,
using too much
no,
time
no,
on
no,
TikTok or something.
no. I'm not much of a like. It sounds like a cliche to say I'm not much into social media, but like I do post a lot. You'll see like
Yeah.
on My Fair Universe is like, okay, I'm going to share that, share. But I'm not there a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of,
Oh,
a lot. Yeah.
I have to mention that, and I know one of your previous guests mentioned it as well.
What's that?
But the like the reposting you do
Yeah.
is wonderful. I know you have a design, an aesthetic, which is even a bit deeper than maybe people realize. Because I know you change some of the, when you're promoting a cosplayer, some of the wording and the little images you use are slightly different than when you're promoting a podcast or something else. So I've looked into it. It's very nice,
Thank you.
and it is doing the thing you've said. It's boosting other people, and I have actually followed a number of people based on your shares,
Oh,
because you'll say something and I'll be like, oh, I hadn't come across this person. Couple of clicks and I'm like, oh, I quite like their stuff, and give them a quick follow. So it would have been remiss of me not to commend you for the hard work that you do.
I appreciate it, and you've helped me want books, and so
I'm so sorry.
Um, no, it's okay, it's all right. No, I appreciate your time. It's been wonderful talking to you for the last few hours, and I hope everybody has enjoyed these. If you haven't, please go give Jason a follow at all those locations that you have, Recommendations everywhere. Like, follow, subscribe, share it with your friends. When you go visit your family on the holidays, just tell grandma that she needs to turn on the internet so you can give a follow, and just she don't need to
Yeah.
know anything else.
Yeah. If you
But
can also set it up to autoplay every time a new
yes,
episode comes out, that would be brilliant.
yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm looking for that niche audience where I find some kid that is like, I'm gonna watch a Star Trek podcast, the same one on a loop all day long.
Yeah.
It's
Go
gonna
for it.
happen. It's gonna happen. But I appreciate your time. And so thank you. Stick with me for a couple of minutes afterwards, and live long and prosper.
Thank you. Oh, I'll do it. I never do it on mine, and
Oh,
everyone always does it, and I can do it, and I can do both. Yeah. It's not that I can't do it. I just don't
it's
do it.
well, no, it's fine. It's fine. Every now and then, it's like five. I know.
Yeah.
All right, we'll talk later.